you did sometimes, seeing eyes of mine. Love, love, love.
What's going on, YouTube?
Hi, YouTube.
It's the Lockwoods.
Yes,
We're
it
here
is.
back again on our YouTube channel, Live, Love, Lockwood.
And we are the Lockwoods, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we're coming to you. I don't want to say too much because I know sometimes it can end up going so long. So I kind of just want to jump in and just kind of get started. But first thing I want to say, guys, if y'all haven't seen our latest video where we went to the Soto Caverns with our church group, just check it out. It's just a little fun video. It's not like it's just something cute. So I think you ought to enjoy just seeing us out of our element, just with our family, just enjoying ourselves. It was awesome. We had an awesome time. So go catch that video on our channel. But today we wanted to talk about I don't know really what the topic is going to be. I normally don't make the topic until I'm editing and posting it on YouTube. But we're kind of in the lines of parenting and marriage and just family. We just want to dive into all of that. We want to just talk about what it's like for us, the experience we face being a mom and a wife for me, and for my husband being a husband and a father from his perspective and my perspective. So, you want to jump in? You want to go first? Want me to go first? I mean,
Yeah, I can go first.
Are you ready?
I guess I'll start with my father first. Because we didn't get married until after we, had Kaylee. But for me, realizing, that when we first realized that we was gonna have our first child, I think both of us working at both of us working at Burger King. When I think we had talked about this on one of the videos when my wife found out that she was pregnant or whatever.
You probably like briefly. So.
Yeah. Excuse me. Excuse me, y'all. Yeah, but
Allergies acting up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but yeah, we had found out we was having a child, and for me, I'm pretty sure it's the same with my wife. For me, it was coming into learning how to be a father. I really didn't know how to be a father because it was my first time, so I was really just going off of things that I saw other fathers do until I started to establish a relationship with God and started to read His Word. Well, really not even read His Word, but just establish a relationship with Him, and He started to teach me things that a father should do. But I think the one thing that He worked on me was the first thing that He worked with me was just having the heart of a father, having that compassion and love, for this child, and wanting to protect them and always be there for them, so that's just a little something that that I just wanted to share, how it was for me. But how was it for you, being a mother for the first time?
Oh, I just remember. Oh my gosh. So, first of all, like, just to start out, like, we had already actually got engaged. My husband had proposed. Well, my boyfriend at the time, who was my husband, he had just not too long proposed. I think I don't remember what month it was.
I can't remember.
It's okay. But it just was so long ago, you guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, I just remember he had proposed, and so we had started planning a wedding. We had kind of came up with some ideas and everything. I had got a dress. And then I found out while I was at work because one of my relatives was working with me at the time, and she was like, "You're pregnant," and I was like, "Whatever. I don't definitely think I'm pregnant. I mean, honest, I didn't even think I was pregnant. I didn't even have any kind of feeling that I was pregnant. I don't even know how she knew. She just said I looked like I was pregnant, so I was like, whatever. So she went and got a pregnancy. I'm like, "Ugh, let me take this pregnancy test. Like, it's probably not even gonna say anything. Like,
You better take that test.
you so messy." So anyway, so I went in the restroom at work, you guys, and I took the test. So I'm just honestly, you know how you just like, okay, whatever. It's probably gonna say no. So I just literally wasn't even like thinking about it. Was not nervous. Was not scared. I was like, whatever. You know, I don't think nothing of this. But like I looked back like a second probably after just glancing at it, just trying to see what was going on. Like it turned positive so fast. I was like, all I can say to I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was just like, I could not even believe it. I'm like, yeah, I just like, this has to be some kind of a joke. Like, I just did not believe it. And so I just remember I was like, "Can I take a break?" And I called my fiance at the time, who's not my husband. I was like, "Oh my God, I am pregnant." And he was like,
What?
"Yes." I was like, my family member went and got me a pregnancy test, and it was positive. He was like, "What?" Like, we both could just not believe it. But for me, after finding out, like, my main thing was just like, I was nervous because I think my main thing was like, oh my gosh, I don't want a child like me. Because at the time, I was so sensitive. I was very, like, such an emotional person at that time where, like, just things would get to me a lot easier than it does now. So I was like, oh my gosh, I do not want to have a child who's a crybaby. And I know that's crazy. Like, that was my biggest concern, though. Not that the child, like, something's gonna be wrong. Like, I just, like, oh my God, I don't want this child to be like me. Like, I was so afraid for my baby to be like me. And that just shows, like, where I felt about myself at that time. I didn't like the person I was if I didn't want my baby to be that person. And that just lets me know that, we got to really look at ourselves even as our kids grow up. Like, would you want your child to be like you? Like,
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
if you have things about yourself, even now
Yeah.
that you have your children, would you look at yourself and say, oh my gosh, I want my child to grow up, be like me, because you are at a place maybe that you are comfortable with and you are okay with, and God is using you. You're at the place where God wants you to be. You've grown. Like, but you have to really think about that as a parent. Like, would I be okay if my child turned out like who I am today? Not
Right.
maybe who you were in the past or something.
Mm-hmm.
But say, would I want my child to turn out like? And if your answer is no, then you really need to look at yourself. Because one thing that I know and that me and my husband talk about all the time is that kids, they don't do what you say, they do what they see.
Mm-hmm.
They
Oh,
model
yeah.
what you do. Like, if you
Everything.
do certain things, they're gonna do certain things. They're like, most of the time, unless they're around somebody else more often, they're gonna pick up what they see. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that's the thing too, we have to be careful about who we allow around our kids,
Oh,
what we
yeah.
allow our kids to listen to, what we allow them to watch,
Oh, yeah.
because they pick these things up and they don't just say, oh, that's just a show. No, they take these things seriously. They want to do those things, they mimic it, they copy it, and they want to do those things. So you got to be careful that whatever your child is pouring into themselves, that
Exactly.
is something that you want your child to mimic.
Oh, yeah.
If it's something that you are not okay with and you don't agree with, then it's probably something you shouldn't allow your child to see
Oh,
or
yeah.
hear And that's the same thing around people that you allow your child around. You don't want your child to be around somebody who does things that maybe you don't agree with.
Yeah.
Y'all parenting styles are different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, their lifestyle is a little different than yours. If you don't agree with their lifestyle, that's probably not somebody that you should allow to really keep your child for long periods of time and have your child just being around them often.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know you. Because I had to yawn, so I was like, let me see if they got something to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, you know, yeah, so there was one thing I definitely wanted to talk about. Um, and just about, there was one point about just parenting that just came to my mind as I was just describing, you know, how I felt finding out I was a mom and the
Mm-hmm.
seriousness and the fears I face and that came across. But also I want to deal with just now going into my experiences being a mom and a wife and how I handle it all. Um, for me, where at first I was mostly a stay-at-home mom because at one point it was just really hard to find a good stable job for myself, especially as I started to mature and understand and appreciate having a job. It was just really hard for me. Like I would get a job like right after I got out of school. I actually had a job. It was really good, and then like something's like my medical history caused me to not have the job. So, like it's just things like that. But anyway, so mostly I was like as Kaylee, until Kaylee was really about 3, she was at home with me. And then she started going to Head Start, and then of course when Allie was a baby, like Allie is still home now, but with me on days that I'm off, with my mother-in-law when I'm not off. But so I mainly was a stay-at-home mom. I consider myself a stay-at-home mom now. I consider myself a working / stay-at-home mom, I guess. But just being my experience being a stay-at-home mom was it was kind of rough. It was kind of rocky because some days it would be easy. I would feel great. I would be happy to just be at home with my babies and be able to watch them every day. But then, of course, when you go through like financial problems and things,
Pretty
it
much
would make
life.
you, yeah, life problems. Like it would make you like, okay, I don't want to be at home. I shouldn't be at home. I need to be working. And
Yep.
then you would start to get discouraged, like, well, why can I find a job? Why is this not working out? Or then when I get a job, like when I did have one job that I was working at home and it did last for like 6 months. But then because it was seasonal, I end up after it was over, I didn't have anything, so I was back to staying at home. So it was like you would get discouraged. I would get discouraged in that times. I would be like just going through moments where sometimes I just felt so alone because I would be just sitting at home and my husband would be working. And not necessarily like my husband wasn't doing his job as a husband, but it would just be my insecurities or my mind would just make me think that, oh, I have nobody. I'm by myself. You know, I would just feel really alone because when you're at home by yourself and if you don't have like, you know, true friends that you can really call that who would be at home too,
Yeah.
like you just get lonely. So I would just get lonely and there would be days like I just would be like just crying, like I would be so depressed, so sad. And then also with that, on top of just feeling discouraged, also having to try to be a mom. So it would be like trying to give my best to my kids, but
Yeah.
also trying to deal with the reality of what was going on in our life. So it would be just so much, and I would just feel overwhelmed and
Mm-hmm.
just not good enough. I would tell my husband, like, you know, I'm just gonna be honest. I would be like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't have been with me. Like, I just didn't feel good enough about myself. I was just really discouraged. Um, but of course, he would just reassure me and encourage me. And I do thank God for him because I know it's the Spirit of God working through him that would just give him these words to say to me to encourage me in those times when I would feel so low, so down, so not good enough, and I'll be like, well, God has one more for me. And I remember we encouraged each other. I think we may have said this before, but I can't remember. But we encourage each other with these same words, that we have to realize that maybe your purpose that God wants you to just be grateful with
Yeah.
is just being a wife or a spouse
Mm-hmm.
and a parent.
Yeah.
Like for me, I had to just be appreciative that God allows me to be a mom and a wife. That alone is a job. That alone is a lot of responsibility.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think sometimes we realize that being a parent is a lot of responsibility. Being a
Mm-hmm.
spouse is a lot of responsibility, because
Yeah.
when I was at home, I felt like it was my responsibility to make sure that the house was clean, make sure that the kids were good, make sure that dinner was ready and we had something aside for dinner. Like, make sure that the kids, when Katie comes home, her homework is done. Make sure that, I just felt like those were my responsibilities because I was stay-at-home mom. Now, did my husband say, babe, this is what you need to be doing? No, this is what the pressure that I put on myself, is that I just felt like, well, this has to be done, this has to be done. And then if I couldn't do it all, if I got tired, and I would just put myself down, I would get discouraged. I would be like, I just was not in a good place because I put all those pressures on me. But then when I started to appreciate that it is a blessing, even if it's not my will,
Yeah.
it is a blessing to be at home with my kids. It is a blessing to be able to be the one that they're able to be around all the time, who is
Mm-hmm.
influencing them. And
Exactly.
I feel like I was in a place, because I'm trying to live holy, that I would want them to be influenced, if anybody, me and my husband. I wouldn't
Right.
want them to be influenced by some strangers that I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that, because some of us, we can't help it if we have to send our kids away, but we have to realize there is a blessing if you can stay at home. And if you do stay at home, realize that
Mm-hmm.
is a blessing, that is a gift. Don't feel like that is not enough. That is more than enough, if anything, because you have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of responsibility in being at home with your kids and raising them, taking care of your home, making sure your husband has a good, clean, peaceful home to come home to.
Mm-hmm.
There's a blessing in that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I just wanna, kind of add to that. Also, just like my wife said, for her point of view, being at home and stay at home mom and a wife, you truly should look at that as a blessing, because I just believe that God wouldn't, allowed you to conceive a child if it wasn't going to be a blessing for that child, or especially for you as being a parent, So just look at it as, even if, and and I could just use myself for an example. When I was going through, that point in my life, just recently. Matter of fact, when I felt like, God, I just felt like that there was so much more that I could have been doing, but God, used my wife to reassure me, hey, the life that you're living as being a father and a husband, that's the thing that you should be most focused on, because and once I realized that, then my eyes became open. Then I realized, like, hey, this is my opportunity, to be that light, to my family, and guide my family in the way that I'm supposed to, in the way that God wants me to, and that's what I started, to truly uh, submit more, and to accept that role, as being a father and a husband, and and also, allow God to allow me to walk in uh, some of that fullness of being that, and being that protector and that provider, and showing that kindness and compassion, towards our kids, and also to my wife, so that's what I wanted to add on that, but
Yeah, that's awesome, babe. But yeah, now, aside from being a stay-at-home mom, I've also been a working mom, and that is equally, I can honestly say I know it's hard for moms when you have to leave your babies with daycare or family or whoever. Like, I know that has to be hard because it was hard for me when I first started back working, and now I do, I don't work really full time, but when I'm at work, I work all day. But but I'm off like 2 days a week. Well, doing the actual week, then I'm off on the weekend. But I do work now, and then I stay home 2 days out of the week, and then the weekends, of course. But it's also hard because um, you're working all day, and then you have to try to come home, get dinner. For me and my husband, we have to try to figure out something for dinner. We have to try to get stuff done, like if stuff haven't been done around the house. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I come home and then, maybe the house is not clean. The kids may have ate lunch during the day, and then stuff may be on the floor, so you have to try to come home, clean up. Maybe clothes may need to be washed, lunch may need to be folded. So on top of being at work all day, where you might have been exhausted from working all day, you now have to come home and start a whole nother chapter.
That was another
And
job.
yes, and sometimes it's exhausting. So I can understand as parents the frustration, because sometimes you are just tired. You had a
Yeah.
long day, you are tired, and you just want to rest. You don't want to come home and honestly do
Work again.
You just want to come home, have food already ready, sit down, eat, and do, just rest. But it's not like that. Reality is not like that. You have to come home, do stuff.
Yeah.
So, but it can definitely be challenging. But I think that you just have to honestly know how to balance it all. For me, like when I am off and when I do get alone time, like during the weeks when I'm with my kids, during their nap, knowing their naps honestly last like 2 hours, because I'll definitely try to put them down by 12 o'clock. They'll wake up by 2:30, depending. Sometimes they'll sleep longer than that.
Yeah.
But when they are asleep, I try to rest. I take that time, use that time, watch me a sermon, read my Bible. Sometimes if I'm feel myself in a bad mood, like where I'm starting to get depressed, I'll listen to some worship music.
Yeah.
I just try to use that time to I can't rejuvenate.
Yeah.
I try to use that time to just pour back into myself everything maybe that I have felt draining
Yeah.
from me. I just try to definitely make those things a priority. Like, because me and my husband, we can't always take vacations. I know a lot of people can take multiple vacations a year, but that's not our situation. We are lucky to get, we're not lucky, but blessed to get one vacation out a year.
Yeah.
So, we have to, God is giving us the wisdom to know how to, rejuvenate without leaving your home.
Yeah.
So if you can't go on a vacation or something, you gotta try to get in some time where you can, because I'm telling you, if you don't, you're not gonna be able to be the best for your spouse, for your kids, if you don't take that time to recharge. Just
Yeah.
get yourself in a good place, because
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
telling you, if you try to just keep going just by not doing anything, you just work, home, work, home, work, home, you're gonna find yourself crashing.
Oh, yeah.
And you're gonna get depressed, you're gonna get overwhelmed. So you gotta take some time to just kind of get yourself back in a good place, mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, like I said, is taking that time, reading my Bible, taking that time, listening to some worship music, studying my Bible, just spending time with my husband. Those moments I definitely appreciate so much, because that helps me get back to the place I need to be, and help me not to get in a low place.
Oh, yeah. And for me, I think the biggest thing for me is just getting in God's presence. And just being honest with God, and just be like, hey God, right now, I'm feeling weak. I just need you to restore me to that place I need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to understand, God knows us better than we know ourselves. So if we go to him with a true, honest heart, sincere heart, I promise you, God will restore you to that place you need to be. That's all he's asking for, is you to just come to him and stop looking for the things of this world to get you to that place that you need to be. Get in God's presence, because I promise you, he'll restore you and put you back in that place that you need to be.
Won't he do it?
Yes, he will.
But yeah, that was good. Yeah, definitely be honest with God. That's something I'm learning. Like, just being honest, saying, hey, you know, God,
Yeah.
I'm really struggling today. You're going to just please give me strength.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm feeling low. Like, I cannot even lie. Like, I think that was like last week I called my husband because I was just in a really discouraged place because, you know, sometimes you start thinking about everything that's going on in your life.
Yeah.
And you start to just get overwhelmed. And honestly, I had to make myself like read some Bible scriptures, like listen to some worship music, because I'm like, no, you know what? I can't stay in this place. I
There
was
you
literally depressed. Like I was
Yeah.
felt myself getting depressed, and I was like, no, I can't stay here.
Mhm.
Like, you know, part of me, I could tell my face, you know, just like, you know, don't listen to that. Just stay here. Just feel miserable. I was like, no. I turned on my phone.
go.
I listened to these worship music, these worship songs. I read my Bible, and you know, some scriptures just stuck out to me that God is near to the brokenhearted.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
He saves those that have a contrite spirit. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I gotta go
That's
find
right,
it. But
that's right.
it was, I'm like, yes, I needed that because I needed to know that God was near,
Yeah.
that I was not alone
Not
in that
alone,
situation.
yes.
That I was not alone because, you know, as I stated earlier, I used to go to that, you know, deal with just feeling alone. And so I just need to know that I was not alone. When I tell you, I know that it was God because I was like, I don't know. I know I didn't get myself out of that place,
No.
but I knew it was God's spirit. He heard my cry.
Oh, yes.
I know that he heard me,
Yes.
and he pulled me out of that place, that low, dark place that I
Thank you,
was
Lord.
in. So you have to just be honest with him.
Oh, yeah.
When you feel yourself getting low, don't go on Facebook. You don't even have to go on Facebook. You don't have to even go call nobody. When I tell you can cry out to God, open that
Yeah.
Bible. I will show you. It's a search thing on here. If you are feeling any kind of way, you can search and put in how you're feeling, and it will give you Bible verses. Like here's this right here. It shows you. I don't know if you see. It has little emojis. I don't know how y'all see. Yeah, but I don't know if y'all can see it right. But yeah, you can go to your Bible app, click on search, and under the search, it'll have where it says, what does the Bible say? But under that, it'll ask you, how are you feeling? And it has a happy face, a sad face, a kind of anxious looking face, and then a scared looking face, I think. But then if you press like the anxious face, it got, are you feeling ashamed, depressed, discouraged, forgotten, hopeless, hurt, lonely, sad, sick, tired? If you're feeling any of those ways, click on it. Click on it and it will give you Bible verses to help you where you are. I feel like that is great because if you just need to know, like, you may not want to try to figure out, you may need to say, I'm feeling tired today, Lord, what? And you can click on that. It'll give you verses to help you to not feel tired. If you're feeling discouraged, hopeless, it'll give you verses to help you in those state. So you all use that. You know, we just got to realize that we can't stay in that place because we don't want to be down. Because I know if you all are like me, like if my Kaylee sees me down, like she will ask me, like the other day, I wasn't even sad. We were in church actually yesterday. And I just was looking because I was listening to what they were saying. And she said, what's wrong with you? Oh, you need to be smiling. She said, you supposed to smile forever. Don't you ever stop smiling. I was like... Okay, Kaylee, I'm okay, but it just lets you know that your kids they can tell if something's wrong.
Yeah.
They are concerned about you. They don't want to see you down. You know, maybe Kaylee's seen me crying before, so sometimes she gets a little concerned. So I try not to even cry around them, especially Kaylee, because she is one that like she doesn't like to see you sad, and it hurts her if she sees you sad. So if your kid is like Kaylee, you know, we have to stay strong for them. So if you're in that place, get in a good place so you can be a positive person for your child. They can have some, you know, they don't want to see you down. You know, that makes them sad. So you want to be positive around them. You want to be in good spirits, cheerful, joyful when you're around your kids. So you have to do this not only for yourself, but for your kids and your spouse.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think none of them want to see you in a low place. They want to see you happy, joyful. So you have to do it for the both, for your family.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So we definitely just want to end this just encourage you all to just if you have kids, just love on your kids. Try to be the best parents you can be. We're probably gonna have to make a part 2 because I had wrote down some scriptures, but you know, just trying to testify. I didn't get a chance to actually say all the scriptures that I want to talk because I would really want to dwell in, but I know this video, I think it was a blessing. It definitely touched me just to talk about a lot of this stuff with my husband. So we will do a part 2 to this probably later on.
Yeah.
You know, and I know it'll be good, but in that one we'll share more scriptures on parenting, just to help us all be better parents.
Oh, yeah.
To love our kids right. Be gentle to your kids. A lot of kids don't like you always fussing. You have to be able to balance it. You know, discipline them, but also be gentle and kind to your kids, so that they won't be discouraged. You don't want them to not feel loved from you. You know, because kids honestly will say that, like, well, my mommy always fuss all the time at me.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want them to remember you like that. You want them to know you as a loving parent who cares for them and is just concerned and want the best for them. So yeah, definitely try to just everybody make time for your kids, your family. Make time to do family things where you all get together and talk or just have fun. Just make time for your family because family is important. Family is a blessing and a gift from God. And so we don't want to neglect it. So, any final thoughts, honey?
Just to encourage, whoever's, feeling low, just remember that God has not forgotten about you and you're not alone and He has not forsaken you. Just do what you can to press into His presence, and just allow Him to, restore you and to give you that strength to pull through that low place that you're in, but I think we reached our mark.
Yeah.
it normally cuts off at 33 minutes, so we got a couple
it's like
seconds.
At 32, yeah, 32. So yeah, I just want to suggest this song. I love this song. I actually learned it on a praise team, and we started singing, but it's called Psalms 23. I am not alone. So just put that in on YouTube, Psalms 23, I am not alone. And it's called People and Songs. They sing it, and you all will enjoy it. It will bless.